Hello, I'm Coach Christian, and I help extremely stressed people to deal with their stress by observing it for themselves. Welcome to yet another video. Every single day I publish a video that's designed to provide you with tools that you can use to deal with any stressful situation in your life. Alright, let's go into the question of the day. The question is as follows. Coach Christian, my boyfriend and I have been fighting a lot lately about little stuff that doesn't matter. How can we stop fighting over these small things that won't matter in the long run? Coach Christian, my boyfriend and I have been fighting a lot lately about little stuff that doesn't matter. How can we stop fighting over these small things that won't matter in the long run? Yes, obviously, to figure out how to stop having these fights over little stuff, it's important to figure out what is causing the fights in the first place, right? If we get to the root cause of the problem, then we can solve it. So, in my experience, there's a couple of reasons why, potential reasons why you might be fighting, right? So, by little stuff, of course, little is relative, right? So, it's stuff that you consider to be little. Maybe you guys are fighting over, oh wait, he left his plate on the table and you had to pick it up. Or it could be something as smaller, it could be something that you might consider small. It could be, oh, he didn't kiss you before going out of the house. It could be something like that. Or basically, he isn't hugging you enough, or he didn't tell you he loves you today, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, whatever, you see, there's the way to look at these things is either everything is little or everything is big, right? So, anything can be considered to be big, right? So, for example, he didn't pick up his plate. You can make that into a big issue. He didn't pick up his plate after eating and expected me to pick it up. It means he doesn't love me, he doesn't respect me, he thinks he's better than me, he thinks he's superior to me. If you think like that, of course, it's going to be a big thing, right? So, not picking up the plate is big. But of course, you can also make it small, isn't it? It's like big deal. It's just a plate, no problem, right? So basically, something is little depending on who you're dealing with, right? So it's kind of the approach could be to consider everything as little, right? That's one way. If you do that, this kind of a beautiful way to live, I think, where nothing really matters. It's all just temporary, anyways, right? You could think of everything as little, not so serious, which is you could take life not seriously at all, right? Which is kind of a powerful position. All right, we're fighting now, no big deal, right? Or you could take life as extremely serious. That's also another way. Everything is serious, everything matters. He didn't pick up his plate, that matters. He didn't kiss me goodbye, that matters. He didn't buy me, he didn't, what? He forgot to, I don't know, he forgot to do something I told him to do. This is really serious. You could take both approaches, okay? So it's either all really, really important or it's not important at all, right? So both of those work. Um, if you take it all as important, you're really dedicated to solving it. If you take it as all of it doesn't matter, all this little stuff don't matter, all of them are little stuff, none of it really matters. Now you'll not be what? Uh, Again, the need to fight will not be there. Why would you fight over little stuff, right? If it's too important, then you're going to take the argument very seriously to make sure it doesn't happen again, right? So those are two those are two approaches you can use. Both of them sound to be effective. Um, hey, so actually that's one way, isn't it? Is you can decide to take everything very serious, right? So all this stuff that you're calling little, no, it's not little. It's all very serious, okay? Um, he said he was gonna call you, but he didn't call you. This is serious. He's on Facebook all the time. This is serious. He didn't smile at you today. This is serious. You can one approach is to take all of it very seriously. Right? But if you're gonna do that, you're gonna take everything seriously. You can't take certain things serious and other things not serious, you know? So this is one approach, although this one is tough. Or take all of it not serious at all. That's another thing, right? Is so in that case, okay, I think I've beaten a dead horse here in terms of taking it all serious or not taking it seriously. Let's move on to something else. Potential causes of this. Another cause can be this, right? So usually the state that you're in is going to dictate what you say and what you think and how you feel. For example, if I'm excited or like if I'm in a very jolly, joyful mood, I'm going to interpret everything in a joyful way. You know, even if someone says something that normally would make me pissed off, I'm not going to be pissed off and I'm going to be like, they didn't really mean it. I'm just going to laugh it off because I mean, like your state dictates everything, right? So if I'm joyful, I'm gonna think joyful thoughts. I'm gonna feel joyful. I'm gonna behave joyfully towards others, right? If I am sad, I'm gonna think sad thoughts. I'm gonna feel sad. I'm gonna interpret everything around me in a sad way. If I'm afraid, I'm gonna feel afraid. I'm gonna contract, okay? I'm gonna think about how things might not work out, and I'm gonna induce fear in others, right? So this emotional state I'm in determines how I think, how I feel, the way I treat others, the way I interpret events. So it could be, this might be the problem, right? So maybe he did something that, maybe it could be that your boyfriend did something that pissed you off before. Or it could be vice versa. You did something that, let's use you. It could be that he did something that pissed you off before, right? Maybe yesterday, you were trying to talk to him about something serious and he dismissed it, which made you feel not heard, which made you feel, let's say, very angry. Okay, but maybe it wasn't such a big deal that you could like now snap at him, but you became angry, right? And then you spent the whole night thinking about what he did. How dare he doesn't respect me, how could he dismiss me that way, he thinks I'm inferior to him, he doesn't think I'm important, he doesn't take me seriously. Those kinds of thoughts run through your head, and then maybe you are remembering the times when he dismissed you, the times when he didn't treat you seriously. And once you're in such a state, here's what's going to happen. That state is going to dictate everything that he does. So that in the morning, if let's say he makes a cup of coffee and rushes off to work, you're going to be thinking, oh, he didn't consider me. Why didn't he make a cup of coffee for me? So you're going to interpret everything he does in a negative light, which means that everything is going to be a source of fighting. So this could be one thing. Check if you have some resentment or anger towards him, or maybe he has some resentment or anger towards you. Right? So that might be coloring their vision, right? So obviously not everything, right? Like something's wrong, you're right, when you're fighting about every little detail. If you're constantly fighting about every little detail, well, obviously something's wrong, right? Um, okay. And it's not, the fight is not coming from those small details, it's coming from something else. It could be some unresolved issue between you two, so that if you resolve that issue, things will be fine, right? So this could be it, right? So like you're not seeing things as they are, right? You're not putting things in perspective. Oh wait, he made a cup of coffee and left and he didn't make me a cup of coffee. That's what happened. Now you can interpret it as, oh my goodness, he didn't make me a cup of coffee, doesn't care about me. This is yet another reason why this I should leave him, etc. Right? It's your interpretations, okay? And your interpretations can become biased by an emotional state, let's say an emotional state of anger that's coming from somewhere else. So in which case you'll have to figure out what was the trigger, what was the first thing that created this resentment, and you handle those feelings. Okay, that's one way. That's one reason why. That's another reason why it could be that. Uh, that's another reason why it could be that you guys are fighting all the time about seemingly little things, right? Because the fight is never about the things, it's about something deeper, you know? The fight is not about, oh, he didn't make me a cup of coffee. The fight is about he doesn't care about me, he doesn't love me, or he used to do this before, doesn't do this now, he doesn't think I'm beautiful enough. There's always something deeper, right? So even if you're saying, that's what I was saying, one approach you can use is to take all these things seriously. They're not little at all, which is correct because they're not, right? Um, or you could also take them as they're not serious at all, right? It's like they're all little things, right? This whole coffee business is no big deal. That's not really what's happening. It's just something deeper. But whatever we're arguing about is just a small detail. Let's go deeper, right? So you can see it the way you want to see it. Let's see, what else could be causing you guys fighting about seemingly small things? Okay, we talked about a form of some frustration from the past. It might be sexual frustration, right? Makes people very irritable. Okay, so I'm trying to see, is there any other reason why you guys would be fighting about little things or things that you consider to be little? No, actually, look, from what I can see here, there is some deeper issue. There is some deeper issue that's causing this. And the deeper issue is some sort of frustration, anger, resentment, some need that's not being met. And this is just like the small arguments are just the symptom of something deeper, right? This is what I can say. Um, okay, so let's say that's it. Like, let's say you find out that the reason you guys are fighting over small details is because, let's say, as a woman, he keeps asking you to have sex with him, initiating sex, and you keep rejecting him. Okay, this is making him angry, and maybe that's why he's now arguing and picking fights over all sorts of small things. Of course, if it's sex, it's simple, right? Just have sex with the guy, and the problem and these small fights will go away. Um, if it's some other issue that caused it, um, maybe it's just that, like he, let's say he didn't pay attention to you yesterday, or let's say he didn't pay attention to you last month. Okay, let's say it was Valentine's Day, and you take Valentine's Day seriously. So it was Valentine's Day, and he didn't bring you any flowers or whatever. And now you became really pissed, but not too pissed, because he's never really missed a Valentine's Day before, and now you're like retaliating, right? So you're punishing him in small ways by arguing and like interpreting everything he does in a negative way. Now, how can you deal with that? If that's a situation, if you have like a trigger in the past that made it happen, one of the things you could do is you could sit down and address the initial cause of the problem. Okay. Hi, sweetheart, whatever, boyfriend. Maybe don't call your boyfriend, but honey or whatever. Just sit the guy down and tell him that you guys have been fighting a lot and you think it's because of blah 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 the other time when you didn't do this or when you did this, and talk about it, right? So this is one way in which you can diffuse a lot of these fights, right? It's just clear communication, right? I am hurt because of this, you're hurt because of this. You could do that, but it could be that your partner doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, so there's a way you can diffuse this tension, right? And it's something I recommend a lot. So whenever you feel any form of irritation or anger, right? Let's say he does something and you feel anger and maybe you get into a fight. Pay attention to these fights. Pay attention to the source of these fights. And the way you do that is by observing the fights themselves, right? What was said, what did I do, what did he do? Just record the facts of the fight, right? Just observe the fight that happened and just write down the facts of what happened, okay? Um, I called him an asshole, he called me a bitch, and then just write all of it down. Um, he yelled at me, blah blah blah. Maybe even look at what triggered, like what thing triggered this fight. Just pay attention to observe the root of the fight. Right? Actually, if you just observe the details of the fight, eventually you'll be able to get to the root of it, and you'll begin to get ideas of how to avoid future fights. Right? So there's a lot of things you can do, but the key obviously is to observe the situation. I can't really tell you what to do. Observe the situation, observe the arguments, get to the root cause, right? What is causing, don't study the fights themselves, but what is the cause of them? What's the source of them? If you handle the source, there's no longer a problem. But of course, other than that, I'll need more specifics to be very specific to your situation. Look, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification. Ding, 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 ding. This will notify you whenever I publish a new video, because I publish a video every single day, and these videos are designed to provide you with tools that you can use to deal with any stressful situation in your life. Now, if you have any question or comment, don't forget to add it in the comment section below. Right? I might answer your question in a forthcoming video, and if you make comments, I'll know what you're thinking. So I'll be better able to provide you with videos that meet your needs. Now, if you're interested and fascinated by this idea of observing the fights in order to figure out what is causing them, what is the thing that's leading us to fight over small details, if you're interested in this observation method, right, then just click on, there's a link in the description below. Just click on something called the Observer Approach. There's a link for that. This will give you free and instant access to a simple but very powerful method that you can apply right now, right, immediately, to begin to deal with any problem that's stressing you out by observing it for yourself. I'll also add a couple of videos in the description related to this topic, right? So if you're having conflicts with your partner or in a relationship or at work, and you want to know how to resolve conflicts, and you've loved this video, very likely you'll enjoy other videos I've made. So I'll just put links to those in the description below. Thank you very much for listening, and hope to catch you on the next video. Oh, thank you very much for watching this video, and hope to catch you on the next one. Bye.